Best thing to practice when you're warming up is taking a 1 to 5 to 1 to 5 progression and practice improvising over it so that the listener can hear where the chords change. I'm going to start on A minor.
Okay, this is a pretty good idea so far. It's definitely a good thing to practice. I don't know if it's the best warm-up for everyone, but let's check it out.
Go to E7, go to A minor, go to E7.
Nice. Okay, just like that. All right, so I want to show you guys what he's doing in this video. First of all, like I said before, I think that this is definitely a good thing to practice. Is this the best warm-up for everyone? Probably not, especially if you're a beginner. Most beginners are going to have absolutely no idea how to do this. To me, the goal of a warm-up is to actually warm up. He's playing pretty fast there. For most people, you want to start off just playing something nice and simple, like even just playing one note. And so what is he doing here? Well, he's basically having you practice outlining chord changes. So he says a 1 to 5 to 1 progression. So in this case, he's actually doing it in a minor key. So he's doing it in A minor. So the progression that he's playing is really like an A minor chord to an E major chord. You make it E7. But that's really what he's doing. Is just, you could even just play this with your basic open chords if you want to. A minor to E7, and he's practicing outlining those chords. So I'm not going to play the exact same thing that he played, but I'll show you some of the things that he did. But it would be something like... something like that. That's pretty much what he's doing. He had some different quirks and variations, and there's one really cool one that I want to show you.
I'm going to start on A minor and go to E7, go to A minor, go to E7.
Okay, so he's actually basing this idea off this arpeggio pattern that you see here on the screen below me. And everyone should know this minor arpeggio pattern, and definitely check out Rick's channel, check out Rick's courses. I love all his videos. But if you take the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course, you'll also know all these arpeggio shapes that he's playing, and you'll be able to figure them out actually just by using your musical logic of knowing what notes are actually in these chords. So, for example, this A minor chord, it has an A, a C, and an E in it. So every single one of the notes in this position is just an A, C, or an E. And it's just me finding them all sort of within that fret range. So he's kind of starting on the C here, which is the third of the chord. And then he's going up to the next note in the chord, which is E, the fifth. And then he's going down to the root, which is lower than where he started. So he's starting to C. It's kind of this pattern where he's just going up a note, and then he's going down 2 notes in the chord so that he can continue lowering that more. Very nice sort of classical sounding pattern that he's doing there. And he does this too. He throws in this D, which is not part of the arpeggio, but that's okay because most of what he's playing is in the arpeggio, and you can just kind of hear it's this A minor land. I think it's worth mentioning too that he's talking about making sure that people can hear the chord changes. I do find it interesting that in a lot of these videos, he has chords playing behind him, like this kind of thing. So, you know, if you have accompaniment, that also kind of helps hear when the chords change. But even if you didn't have the accompaniment, you would be able to hear it because you would be hearing only hitting those A minor. And then you would be hearing him hitting the notes that are in the E chord, the E7. So that's kind of the really cool thing about knowing your arpeggios is that you can learn how to keep the form in a song, and you can learn how to express the chord progression without needing accompaniment. And I think that's why he's recommending this is such a great exercise, especially if you're someone who doesn't know how to do this stuff at all. It can be a real game changer versus just nothing but playing, you know, A minor pentatonic scale, which it sounds cool, but it doesn't express the changes that could happen in a chord progression. So he kind of goes through there, and then he does this next little shape that I want to show you, which is really interesting. That shape is really interesting, and I want to break that down for you guys. So even though he's playing over this E7 chord, so I'll just play it on the piano here. He's doing this. So what the heck is he doing there? He's not just playing an E7 chord there. So he's saying, like, he's showing you E7, and he is showing you the diagrams of what he's doing. But why does this work? He's actually playing this little shape that you can see there on the bottom of the screen. So he's playing what amounts to an E major triad. So it's actually B, E, and G sharp. So he's playing that, but he's adding an A, which is actually the fourth, the sus4, and that's not technically part of the chord, but it's the order he's playing it in that really sort of makes it pop. So he's going B, E, A to G sharp. Now, why is he doing that? That kind of actually adds even more harmonic movement to it, because the most important note in this chord really is the G sharp, which is the third of this chord, because that note wants to go da, da, when it goes back to A minor. That's why he's also recommending, of all the chord progressions to practice, he's recommending that you practice this 1 to 5 to 1 to 5 progression, because it has a lot of motion to it, and it's really the most fundamental progression that you can learn. This note really wants to pull us back to A. That G sharp wants to go to A. But what he's doing here is he's playing the A and then going down to the G sharp. So it actually kind of gives us this feeling of going from an E sus to E. Which the E sus, it kind of like delays going to the E a little bit. It's a very interesting sound. But what he does too that's even cooler, he gets this little structure, and then now he's gonna copy paste that exact same shape 2 more times on the neck, like so. So you can even see, look, I'm gonna copy paste this over right here. Now I just played the same thing. I was playing the same exact shape on the 6th and 5th strings, but now I'm moving it over 2 frets and moving it to the 4th and 3rd strings, and now I have the same thing up an octave. And then now I'm gonna copy paste it one more time, moving over 3 frets, because we have to account for the way the guitar changes tuning between the 3rd and 2nd strings, but it's still the same shape. And by the way, any shape that you play that only spans 2 strings, if it's on the 6th and 5th string, you can play that exact same shape on the 4th and 3rd or the 2nd and 1st strings. It's very cool phenomenon that happens to the guitar. So he does this. Very, very cool. You can do this with all kinds of other shapes too. So to give you an example that you can do this with any other shape, here would be something that you could use for this same exercise. Here would be an A minor triad, A, C, and E. And now I'm just gonna take that exact same shape, because it's only in these 2 strings. I'm gonna move it over to the right 2 frets, and then I'm gonna move it to the 4th and 3rd strings. Same exact shape, and now I'm gonna move it over one more time over 3 frets and over to the 2nd and 1st strings, and now I've copy pasted that exact same shape. Pretty neat, huh? So now he's just moved over to a higher position of A minor. There, right there, that is where he hits what he shows in that chord symbol. He hit an E7 flat 9, or actually that's the only time he really hit the flat 9 actually, which is this F note. So how does that work? Let's break it down. So now he's kind of basing his idea off of more a pure E major triad in this instance. He's playing some other stuff, but it's mainly this going up. So like if we take that shape we learned before where he went from the A down to the G, he went, and just get rid of the A now. He's just going. But now he goes up to this note, the F. So if I play this, it's gonna actually sound kind of nasty. But it's actually kind of cool because the whole point of this chord, the 5 chord in a progression, is that it's supposed to create tension that wants to resolve to the 1 chord, the A minor chord. So like if I just play this chord in E7, you're like, well, that needs to go somewhere, dude. You can't really just like, just leave me hanging on it. Or especially if I play a chord like this. This would be a chord voicing for E7 flat 9. You're like, whoa, dude, that like kind of has to go somewhere. So that's a really cool concept that he's using, is he's just playing the flat 9. Now, that might sound like a crazy idea to you, the flat 9 and this and that, but I want to just give you like a quick little shortcut on how to find the flat 9. It's very simple. Whatever dominant chord you're playing over, so this is a dominant chord, E7, just play the note that's 1/2 step above the root. That's gonna be your flat 9. And now actually, I wanna show you an even more interesting little trick, which is that if I take, for example, let's go just strip away some of this stuff here. So here now all we have is this. This is literally just an E major triad, which is the root 3rd and 5th of an E7 chord. I could actually add in, like, for example, this D note here. That would be all 4 notes are in an E7 chord. But if I just take that, either the E major chord or the E7 chord, and now I just completely get rid of the E and move it up to F, now I actually have, believe it or not, an F fully diminished 7th chord. Now, I don't want to turn this into a whole diminished lesson, but that is a super duper useful shape. And actually, if I expand upon that shape and make it even bigger like this, that's something that I like to do. So if you take like that first A minor shape that he used that I showed you, this is actually really close to it, this F diminished shape, or really I'm thinking of it as an E7 flat 9 actually, because I'm just not playing the root, but I'm gonna play it over this chord. And then I'm gonna resolve to A minor. So that's a really cool trick that you can use over a dominant chord like he's doing, is to get that flat 9 sound. Just get rid of the root, like figure out your E7 arpeggios, get rid of the root, and just move it up a 1/2 step, and bingo, you're actually gonna technically have a diminished chord now that you're playing, but the totality of the sound, again, the whole idea is that I'm playing over this as an E7 chord, and I'm sure when you hear that, it's very recognizable. You hear that sound all the time. So it's just kind of like an extra little quirk that you can add onto your dominant chords. Okay, so that last chord he played was actually pretty funny. It looks like this. So it's actually the open A string, and he's playing the 9th, which is B. Then he's playing the 5th, and then he's playing the 3rd above it, which is a very interesting sound. I think it works well because it's in that high register, but typically, actually, if you have this B and then you have a C an octave above that, it sounds kind of nasty. Like if I did that down here, it wouldn't really work as well. That's the same thing. This is a B and this is C. Typically that doesn't work so well when it's in a lower register, but actually that sounds quite nice and up in that high register. So that's a nice little A minor chord that he just showed us.
Like that.
All right, so there you have it. That's what Rick Beato thinks is the best warm-up to do. I personally just think it's a very good exercise to do. I think that if you want to especially be a pro-level guitarist or musician, you need to know how to do that kind of thing. You should be able to do that with different chord progressions too, and different keys and so on, and work out those arpeggios in each position and be able to just come up with different patterns like that. And yeah, but I don't think that that's the best warm-up. But hey, who am I? I only have 16,000 subscribers, and Rick Beato is a platinum winning producer. Check out my course. It's called the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course. Link is in the description down below. You'll learn how to play arpeggios and chords and all the scales you need to in every single key across the fretboard, and learn how to actually work them out yourself so you're not just kind of depending on a book and memorizing complicated shapes and stuff like that. And of course, also, go check out Rick Beato's channel. Check out his courses. All of his stuff is super awesome, and I really love his channel. And hopefully one day I get to meet you, Rick. That would be awesome. So, all right, everybody, until next time, listen, learn, and jam.